Another Fox News alert for you. ISIS making another chilling threat of a holiday terror attack, this time targeting New Year's Eve celebrations. Propaganda posters sending the message, quote, "Wait for us on your year parties," show two heavily armed terrorists, and you can see it there. Well, that terrifying threat from ISIS, not the first, of course, this holiday season, not the first we've told you about. The terror group also targeting Times Square and the Pope. And now New York is deploying hundreds of extra officers to protect people. Joining us now to discuss is former NYPD Lieutenant Dr. Darren Porcher. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Heather.
So, big concern. I mean, you look at this propaganda that starts coming out, and you have to believe them. You have to take it seriously.
Absolutely. When we take in consideration the two recent lone wolf attacks, one in October and one is recent in December, we have to ramp up our fortifications in terms of protecting New Yorkers here. We look at the Pope, for example. The Pope has always been deemed as an antithesis to ISIS. So we have to maintain that major focus in securing what we refer to as the main quadrant here in New York City on New Year's Eve. That area runs from 14th Street to Central Park South. You can see an amalgamation of resources consisting of the NYPD, EMS, federal law enforcement, the state troopers, and we're going to focus on these, not just these threats, but the internal and external threats, so to speak.
Yeah, and we focused on a lot of threats already. We can bring that up. 26 terror plots have been foiled since 9/11 by NYPD and federal authorities. So the work is already being done.
Absolutely. One of the things is we look at what the state troopers will do. The state troopers will primarily provide fortifications and tunnels, bridges, things to that effect. The National Guard has been activated by Governor Cuomo, and you're going to see them in places like the subway systems, the World Trade Center complex, those high visibility posts. And you're going to have the NYPD that's got to position a series of sniper teams in the Times Square. We refer to it as the bow tie area. In the One Police Plaza area, we have something we refer to as the Ops Desk. It's a command center that has a multifaceted organizations in play, whereas we have federal organizations, state and city, etc. And we focus on whatever the threat potential is at this particular time.
You know, in the last attack that happened, the attack that went bad, thankfully, the person that attempted to blow himself up in the subway system, we saw the cameras that got him walking. So they have that at their resource. They can use that.
Right. The NYPD has a line of security cameras throughout the city, and you have officers that monitor these cameras. That's one component. However, the public is our greatest asset in thwarting these attacks.
Yeah.
We live in a city of 8.5 million people, but we only have 38,000 police officers. 38,000 police officers pales in comparison to the intelligence that can be elicited by 8.5 million people. Therefore, it's necessary for us to continue with this partnership with the public, quote unquote. If you see something, say something.
8.5 million people already here. Then you put into play the holidays, the Christmas holidays, all the people that come to visit, and then New Year's Eve, the New Year's Eve celebration in Times Square. It really just becomes almost impossible to protect all of those people. But that is the job of people like you.
Well, it's a massive
undertaking.
endeavor.
Yeah.
However, we are fit for the challenges, New Yorkers, and bigger than that, Americans, because this is the greatest country on earth.
Absolutely. That's a great way to end it. So be confident if you are going to come and visit New York City, because you will be taken care of. All right. Dr. Porcher, thank you so much. Always enjoy having you with us.
Always a pleasure, Heather.